contact with Mother and Sri Aurobindo. I have written about this. It happened as if by chance that one Sunday afternoon in London in 1969, April 1969, I went to the house of a friend, the flat of a friend in West London, just for social reasons, not expecting anything. But when I got there, the place was full of people and somebody was giving a talk. And I had missed the beginning of the talk, so I didn't know what was the topic, who or what was being spoken about. But over the next hour or so, I had the most amazing experience. It was as if all the things, all the questions I had had about life, all the thoughts I had had, I became aware of them as if they were separate compartments in my head. And through what was being said, the doors opened and all that became connected, and I could see a way forward. I could see how to live my life. So at the end of the talk, I rushed up to the person who was speaking and I said, "Who was that you were telling about? Who was that?" Sri Aurobindo. I'd never heard of him. I was so amazed that although I'd been on the lookout for solutions, for new ways forward, for many years, for 10 years, I'd never heard the name of that person. So after that, with the guidance of that gentleman who was giving the talk, I started to read Sri Aurobindo more and more. And I used to read on the tube. In London we have the subway, the tube. I had to travel from my home to work every day and back again. It was about an hour in both directions. And I had a lunch hour. During my lunch hour, I used to read these little books about Sri Aurobindo. And one day on the tube, on the way home, I read a letter. I think it comes in Basis of Yoga. And that letter touched me, a letter of Sri Aurobindo. That letter touched me so deeply. I felt, yes, that's the reason why I was born on earth. But I didn't think that I had to come to India or anything like that. I felt that now I've been given the key and I will read Sri Aurobindo's books and I will try to practice his yoga. But we couldn't buy Sri Aurobindo's books in London at that time. We had to order them from somebody in Switzerland, Carlo Schuller. And when I ordered the Synthesis of Yoga, then at the same time he sent some information about Auroville. Now we are in August or September 1969, so Auroville was quite new. And myself and some of the friends who were also interested in this path at that time, we were thrilled at this possibility. And some of them began to say we should go and try in Auroville. That seems to be a place for people like us. So we were told that if we're interested in Auroville, we have to write to the mother and send a photograph. So that's what we did. And some of us, we got a letter back, not from Mother herself, but from Navajaji, the chairman of the Sri Aurobindo Society, saying that Mother had accepted that we could come to Auroville, but he said not yet, it's not yet developed enough. So we wrote back again, we asked, are you going to tell us when we can come, or can we ask again? And we got a second letter saying, well, we will contact you, but if you like, you can also contact us. So more than a year later, I think it must have been in October 1970, my friends said, now it's time, now we're going to India. They were all very keen to travel overland, but I'd already done a lot of travels in Asia, and I said, I don't want to do anything like that. If I'm going to Pondicherry, if I'm going to Auroville, I just want to get in a plane and go there. So they allowed me to do that. And it was our friend Jürgen, who runs the Auroville Library, who actually took me to the airport and saw me onto the plane. A funny little plane. I came to Mumbai, then by train to Chennai, and then I didn't know about the bus. I went by train to Villupuram, and then I got on a bus, and arriving at the bus stand in Pondicherry, then rickshaws, people were waiting there, no? When we said Sri Aurobindo, then they immediately knew. They took us to the Bureau Central of the ashram. Took me, I was alone. I did all that journey on my own. And there I asked for my friend, the one who had given the talk, who said the name Sri Aurobindo for the first time to me. And they said they didn't know, but they said, Madhav Pandit will know. So they took me to his office in the ashram. And he said, yes, he's here, he's in Auroville. You can't go to Auroville. You have to have permission from Mother for that. But you can go to the Auroville office and we'll send a message to Jobst. And you can stay at Parko Shabu. So that's how I arrived in Pondicherry. In those days, we had to fill in an application form if we wanted to join Auroville, and again give a photograph. I had to go to a local photographer, have a photograph taken, filled in the form. In the form, I mentioned that I had been doing some work for children, with children. And when I took that form, there were 3 people we could give it to. One was Navajaji, one was Monsieur André, the mother's son, and then there was Roger, the architect of Auroville. So my friend took me to Roger and I gave him the form. And when he looked at it, he got excited and he said, Mother's pressing us to start a school in Auroville. You can do that, he said. I didn't feel at all capable to do that, but I had the faith that if I saw Mother, if Mother saw me, she would know what was the right thing for me to do. And because Roger was keen that I should help in starting the school in Auroville, he took me to see the Mother at his time, which was, I think, 9 o'clock in the morning. So a rainy November morning in 1970, I sat on the stairway up to Mother's room and waited. He went ahead and then my name was called and I had to go up. So I saw Mother that day, very special experience. And I went out of the room. I had forgotten why I was there. I'd forgotten about Auroville and Roger and all that. He came running down the stairs after me and he said, Mother agrees, you can go to Auroville. And the very same day I was able to move to Aspiration. So I was only in the ashram just for a week, exactly a week, I think, before moving. And fortunately, there were already some people who were running a little school in Aspiration. Rod Hensel, who's still here, Ursula Flug, with children who are now grown up and running Auroville. 5 or 6 children were there. But after a short time, on the 16th of December, Aspiration School was declared open by the mother's son, Monsieur André. And it was on that day that Mother gave the message about the 4 languages of Auroville as the message for the opening of Aspiration School. So along with other friends, Rod, Ursula, Christoph, Savitra, Ananda Reddy, Elia, who's now in the society. We were quite, Alain Monnier, Gérard Maréchal, who's now here again. We were among the first there to welcome the first batch of students. And society had provided a bus, the school bus, which became very important in our lives. This batch of about 30-35 children arrived in Aspiration the next morning, and the school started. We were just in a temporary building, no equipment, hardly any equipment. We didn't know the children didn't know us. We didn't speak the same languages. That was the big work of the first year, was somehow to get to know each other, learn to understand each other, learn to communicate. Quite a difficult and trying time. But within that year, a great teacher joined us, Shanti Shah, and with her help, more organization came into the school, more professionality, I could say. So I had wonderful experiences. That whole school was my life for 6 years, up to November 1976. And during that time, of course, the last school building was opened, and then later on, what we called the Sanskrit school. I think now it's called Swagatam building. And we also used the pyramid buildings, which are now in use as an art center. And we had other educational centers connected with our school, spread out all the way from what is now Protection, where the dental clinic is, to La Ferme on the other side of the canyon. We had our own kitchen, or rather the school was running the community kitchen, which was where the bakery is now at Douceur. And there were very big developments from those first children. We came to have, I think, about 150 students, about 1/3 local Tamil kids, many of whom are now very, very important in running Auroville, children of Western origin, and children whose parents had come from other parts of India to join Auroville. Some of them are still here. So in one way or another, from those early times, it's almost 40 years now, isn't it? I've been involved in education in Auroville, and there have been many, many varied experiences. Some of them very, very difficult, very, very painful experiences. But I can only say I feel so grateful that I've been allowed to be here through all this time and have all these amazing experiences, and to be part of this experiment that the mother is doing. And currently I'm looking after Savitri Bhavan, which is something that was started in 1994 with a Savitri study circle. We began to dream of a place where all the materials and activities that would help us to understand and appreciate Sri Aurobindo's poem Savitri could be gathered and made available in a very special atmosphere. We felt that as Matrimandir has a special atmosphere, so that place, that Savitri place, should have a special atmosphere. And somehow this idea caught on and won support. And in November 1995, Dr. Nirodbaran, who had been Sri Aurobindo's close disciple, his attendant during the last 12 years, who was his scribe in the later years for Savitri and other writings, he came and did a wonderful invocation of the blessings of Sri Aurobindo and Mother on our project, and he laid the foundation stone. We'd been given that lovely spot there, just on the edge of the international zone. And surely Mother and Sri Aurobindo must have given their blessings to this project. We had a slow start. We didn't know where any money would come for building. We did our first big fundraising in Gujarat in 1998. And it's coming up to just 10 years. On 8th of August 1999, Nirodbaran came again and inaugurated our first permanent building. And that became the center of a multitude of different activities over the coming years. By November 2004, we had a second building, a big hall. Originally, we thought we will display Huta's paintings there. Huta had been called by the Mother to create a whole series of paintings illustrating the whole of Savitri. When we started Savitri Bhavan, we knew about those paintings, but we didn't dare to dream that one day she might allow us to show the paintings. But when Huta understood about our project, she said, "Oh, that's what I've been waiting for." And she happily gave into our care all the 472 paintings and so many other materials connected with all that Mother had told her. So this was an indication of Mother's sanction and help and support for what we were trying to do. In fact, I can say that we don't really feel that we have created Savitri Bhavan. It's as if some inspiration came, and it was not to me, it was to somebody else. And Nirodbaran has called down the blessings for that project. And after that, there's been this steady flow of force showing us the way. And what we have had to do is just to keep running, to keep up with what needed to be done, what wanted to be done. So today we see we have this wonderful building, beautiful building that's been created for us by Helmut. And so many people have contributed to that building being there. I must mention Kirit Joshi, who when he was chairman of the Auroville Foundation, he called a parliamentary commission to Auroville to convince them to arrange large-scale funding for educational infrastructure in Auroville. And Savitri Bhavan has been one of the beneficiaries of that program, the Saya Development Scheme. So thanks to that, last year, just over 15 months ago, we were able to move into this beautiful building. And we just feel this is grace of the Mother acting through so many people who felt that something valuable and useful is being done in Savitri Bhavan. In Auroville, to start with, not everybody was appreciative about this effort. But gradually, I think, through our activities, more and more people are beginning to appreciate the activities that we have there. and what is the work that we are doing, and the attitude and the atmosphere of that special place. So this is about me and my experiences. Now if I have to say something about Auroville as it is today, how do I see it? When we came, we had such high hopes. Mother was there. Everything she told us was so inspiring. We were young, we were energetic, and there was also a very special atmosphere, as if we were living in some kind of impossible miracle, some marvelous thing. We really expected Auroville to develop much faster and much sooner than it actually has. Partly this is because in 1973 Mother left her body, and once she was not there to give direct personal guidance that everybody could accept, there was a lot of confusion about which way we should go, and conflicts developed. Auroville went through a very, very difficult time. That began to improve with the establishment of the Auroville Foundation Act, and I think there's been a steady improvement in many, many respects since 1988. Auroville has become much more diverse and rich in its activities. Although we have only 2,000 members, still we feel that in a way it is a city because of its openness to the whole world and to such a large variety of activities. It has something of the richness and intensity of city life. It's not like a village at all. But on the other hand, we may feel that some of that earlier idealism has been lost as we are faced with the difficult realities of life. There are more and more pressures coming, partly coming from outside expectations, what Auroville should be. With those outside expectations, it's not always easy to live up to those very pure and high ideals that the Mother gave us. And sometimes we are bewildered, we don't know our way. I think that individually, so many Aurovillians are trying to live according to Mother's inspiration, sincerely trying to be the best that they can be, in the belief that by serving her idea of Auroville, we're doing the best we can to help the whole humanity, the whole earth at this difficult time of transition, of evolutionary transition that the whole earth and the whole human race is going through now. And so far, we are finding it difficult to live that aspiration in our collective life. We're trying, we're still trying, but sometimes we have doubts that seem so very difficult. Will we ever find the way? Will Auroville ever become that ideal place that the Mother envisaged? So personally, I just feel that we should be so grateful that this possibility is still open, and that new people come and are touched by the ideal of Auroville and Mother's inspiring words and guidance. They feel also some kind of living contact with something here that they don't find anywhere else. And we just have to go on being as true, each one of us individually, as we can, and trying to express that more and more purely in our collective life. And we can be sure that that guiding force which Mother has set in place above Auroville, that guiding spirit of Auroville, if we can be open to that, not be too much influenced by the demands and requirements of that pressures that are coming from outside, if we can keep true to that central ideal of Auroville, then we shall always have her help, and Auroville will become the best that it possibly can be under the present conditions of the world.